Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how you can make a cage card using supplies you already have. Isn't that cool? And you can hide a little message in there, or you can even have this in the center of a card to open up when you open the card. So I thought this was a really cool idea. You can buy a die to do this, but I was wondering if I could do this with things I already had. And after making a really elaborate shim and, you know, trying this and that and the other, I realized there's a super easy way to do this, and I could have saved myself a lot of work, but I'll save you the work and I'll show you how I did it. All right, what you're gonna need, this is the first way I'll show you, but then I'll tell you a couple other ways you can do it. I'm just using my die cutting machine, my manual machine. I'm using my magnetic platform, but you don't have to. You can use a regular one. And I've got one plate here on the platform, and then I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock and I'm going to put that there. Now this, you want this to be the size of your card front. Now you could also just use the round part, like cut it free and just use the round part in the middle of a card for a pop-up. That's totally fine, but I'm just going to show you how to do that one because that's what I have the example for. You're going to need some round dies, and I've got these Lifestyle Crafts ones here, and you're going to put them face down on your paper. And having the magnetic platform does make it a little easier, but you don't have to have it. If you don't have it though, you might want to use a little bit of washi tape or something to hold it down. Now these dies I'm using here are by Lifestyle Crafts. They're very close together. You don't need they don't need to be this close together. So if the set that you have is Nestabilities and they're spaced a little further apart, not a big deal. Still gonna work just fine. It'll just be a little bit different. And the other cool thing is you could try this with other shapes you have. You don't have to just use this. You could use ovals, you could try squares or fancy shapes. It's completely up to you. And you can put on as many or as few as you like. I know sometimes with the magnetic platforms, when you get into the tiny ones, they kind of want to bounce around on you. So I'm just gonna use this many. I think that's plenty. I think that's what I did here. Okay, and then put your top pad on and cut as normal. Just crank it right through. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. We are going to take the whole shebang out. Okay, I've got everything all grabbed together here because I don't want it to come apart yet. All right, because right now I have a bunch of rings. That's not very impressive, so I don't want to just like take it apart, or I'm just gonna have a bunch of rings all over the place. And then I'm gonna get some tape. Now on the first one I used the score tape, and then I had to like kind of cover the back with powder, so you know, well, you'll see what I mean in a second. But I'm gonna use masking tape this time because I think it's gonna work a little bit better. Not masking tape, Scotch tape. And plus it'll match my paper, so win-win-win. All right, I'm gonna cut off a piece that is big enough to go across like that. Can you see? You probably see where I'm going with this. Oh, this is like really cheap Scotch tape, so it doesn't want to tear off on me. I had my good stuff. I was wrapping some presents from my girls earlier, and I left it on the other side of the basement. I'm going to press that down really, really, really good. Okay, I'm going to trim off the excess because my little cutter wasn't working so hot. There we go. See, it sticks so good that it wants to rip the paper up, so that's kind of what you want. You want it super adhesive. All right. Then I'm going to get another piece, and I think I might just... Yeah, oh, there we go. Look at that. It worked that time. I'm trying to not get my chalky fingerprints on the back because I want to make sure it sticks really good. Alright, and then I'm going to remove my dies, put them back on my magnet sheet where I store them. I just want to be careful not to disturb my circles. I want to keep them all lined up. Nice, just like they are. Oh my gosh, you should have saw the trial and error I had, and then it occurred to me, wait a minute, I'm making this way too difficult and I'm wasting all kinds of paper. So with the back of my fingernail, or you could use a fancy schmancy bone folder. I don't know where my fancy bone folder is at the moment. Oh, there it is. It's hiding behind my fabric scissors. I'm just going to burnish that tape down really well, because you really want to make sure it grabs. You don't have a huge area, because each of those rings is only an eighth of an inch wide. I'm going to burnish that down, and here's where the magic happens. And I want my smaller scissors because those are kind of big and unwieldy. Oh, I actually put my scissors away. They're in my little cup where they belong. Alright, so the key is to trim every other ring where the tape is. So I'm doing that one, then I'm going to skip one. Do the next, skip one. I'm going to leave the camera rolling. You probably get the gist, but just in case anybody has questions, I'm going to leave the camera rolling so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And then I'm going to cut the last one. Because sometimes I think it's obvious, and then somebody's like, what did you do when you paused the camera? I don't get it. So I want to make sure that it's that it's obvious. Now I could have cut that tape in half before I did it, and that would have made this step a little easier, but whatever. And it would make it more of a lacy effect. Okay, so then the real thing, the thing we have to make sure when we do the other pieces of tape, because so we did the one that goes across, so when we do the perpendicular one, so in this one we cut the first ring, so we're going to cut the second one here. We're going to cut every other one starting with the second, so that way it's almost like there's a continuous, you know, they're connected to each other, at least on one point, 2 points on each circle. So does that make any sense whatsoever? I hope so. Okay, we're going to cut this one here, I think. Yes. And we're going to leave the outer one connected, is that correct? Yes, okay. Yes, I have to double check myself though, and feel free to do that, because sometimes you just want to make sure, because you've already cut that, you don't want to waste your paper. You know, I've wasted a lot of paper today trying to figure this out. Okay, so, and if you do not have dies, don't despair, just cut a bunch of circles, like with your Creative Memory cutter or your Martha Stewart cutter or whatever you do. You might need to start, you might end up, they might all come apart and you'll have to put them back together and tape them. Might be a little more aggravating, but let's see, I gotta skip that one. But, you know, totally worth trying before you spend big bucks on a die, I think. Okay, so I've got them all cut for you. Okay, so this is the back, so I'm not worried about having that tape there. And then you might want to punch a couple holes here with like a long reach punch so that you can put some ribbon through it, but you want to make sure you push them all free, and look at this. Woo! Isn't that exciting? Okay, so I want to show you the difference here. So this one I used, like, it was probably maybe 1/2 inch wide tape. Okay, so this is the effect. It's not quite as lacy as the other one. So this one I had 1/8 of an inch tape, and it's a little bit lacier and comes out a little bit taller, but it's the same idea. So then what I did here when I made this card is I just I set my thing down and I made a little pencil mark on each side at the opening so I could see where I could stamp, and then I removed it. I stamped my sentiment, then I glued this down, and then I got that cool little peekaboo effect, which I think is kind of fun. You could also hide a little picture there or what have you, but I hope you give it a try. This is called a cage card, I think, or cage embellishment. This might actually work better if you want to put this in the middle and maybe like dangle like a little bird or butterfly from the middle and have it kind of hidden in there. I think it's a fun idea. I hope you try it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and give me a thumbs up and share this on Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and wherever you like to share things. It surely helps my channel out, and I thank you very much for that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.